The most dangerous person at the country club isn't the guy with the newest driver or the loudest watch. It's the one who doesn't care what the membership costs, because the check was already written in his head before he parked the car. You are 66 years old. You're sitting at a diner, and you're looking at the menu without checking the right-hand column first. This is level 1 of retiring rich, and it's the quietest victory you'll ever win. Most people think wealth is a pile of gold sitting in a vault. The reality is that wealth is a flow of water. You've spent decades building a plumbing system where the intake, your Social Security, your pension, the dividends from those unglamorous index funds, or the rent from a duplex you bought when your kids were still in diapers is consistently, boringly higher than the outtake. Your core expenses are a known quantity. You know to the penny what it costs to keep the lights on, the taxes paid, the insurance current, and the fridge full. And that number is smaller than the checks that arrive on the first of the month, regardless of whether you got out of bed or not. This is the spread. It's the same math that makes a billion-dollar holding company work, just scaled down to your kitchen table. When the intake exceeds the outtake, the stress leaves the room, and it's replaced by a type of calm that people who are still working find impossible to describe. You aren't budgeting in the way a 30-year-old does, trying to figure out which bill can wait until Friday. You are allocating. If the market drops 10%, you don't call your advisor in a panic or refresh your portfolio until your eyes ache. You just go about your day because your floor is covered. Your kids see you living a modest, stable life. They see the same 10-year-old Toyota in the driveway and the same sensible shoes. They don't see the $8,000 in passive income hitting a brokerage account every 30 days while you're out in the backyard gardening. They don't see the margin of safety, which is the technical term for the distance between your lifestyle and a financial disaster. If you're starting to recognize this level of calm in your own accounts, or if you're grinding to make those numbers line up right now, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. I want to know, what was the specific moment you realized your passive income finally outpaced your active stress? That realization is the first rung of the ladder. To the outside world, you look like a retiree who is doing okay. To a banker, you look like a fortress. You've untangled your self-worth from your net worth and replaced it with a cash flow statement that doesn't flinch at a bad inflation report. That is the true definition of retiring rich. It isn't about what you can buy, it's about what you no longer have to worry about selling. You've turned your life's work into a machine that produces time, and for the first time in 40 years, the machine doesn't need you to turn the handle to keep the lights on. 2. You carry little or no debt. The second sign is a structural advantage that most people mistake for simple frugality. It is the fact that you no longer owe anyone a single cent for the right to wake up in your own house. In the world of business acquisition, the name of the game is debt service, the relentless pressure of paying back the bank before you can pay yourself. Retiring rich is the moment you flip that script. You've killed the consumer debt, the car notes, and the lingering balance on the mortgage. This is the quietest form of wealth, because it doesn't look like a pile of cash. It looks like a lack of friction. Think about the math. If your lifestyle costs $5,000 a month and you have a $2,000 mortgage, you are effectively working or withdrawing just to satisfy a lien. When you own the roof over your head outright, you have effectively bought back $24,000 of your annual income for the rest of your life. You aren't just saving money, you are owning your future cash flow. This is why you don't panic when the S&P 500 sheds 10% in a week. The guy down the street with the leased Mercedes and the interest-only jumbo loan is doing frantic math at 3:00 a.m. But your floor is bolted to the bedrock. If you've already crossed the finish line on your mortgage, or if you're grinding down those last few liabilities, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear in the comments what was the specific day you realized you didn't owe the world a dime. That freedom is the ultimate margin of safety. Your kids might see a modest home, but they don't see the clear title in the safe that makes you bulletproof. You've moved from being a debtor to being the sole shareholder of your own life. 3. Your lifestyle has been stable for years. The third sign is a phenomenon I call the invisible spread. Most people think getting rich means the curve of your spending must track the curve of your earnings, like a shadow that grows as the sun sets. But for you, the shadow stopped growing years ago. You reached a level of comfort that felt like enough, and you anchored yourself there even as the commas in your portfolio began to multiply. This is a structural arbitrage. You are earning at a level 7 intensity, but you're still living at a level 3 cost basis. That gap isn't just extra cash, it is the pressurized fuel that builds a legacy while no one is looking. To the outside world, and especially to your family, your life looks aggressively ordinary. Your kids see a 10-year-old car in the driveway, and a kitchen that hasn't seen a contractor in a decade. They might even worry you're falling behind, because you still compare prices at the grocery store or wait for the seasonal sale to buy a new coat. What they don't see is the psychological margin of safety. The need to impress, that expensive, exhausting race to signal status to strangers, has simply burned out of your system. You've replaced the fleeting dopamine of a new purchase with the deep, cold satisfaction of a compounding brokerage account. If your lifestyle has stayed flat while your net worth climbed, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment with the one rich person luxury you refuse to spend money on. And if this perspective is hitting home, hit subscribe. We're pulling apart the numbers that actually matter. You've realized the most expensive asset you can buy is your own time. You're not hiding your wealth from your children. You're simply refusing to waste the engine that created it on a flashier coat of paint. 4. You can help others without hurting yourself. The fourth sign is the ability to absorb someone else's crisis without it becoming your own. In the world of finance, we call it liquidity. In a family, it's just being the person who makes the problem go away. When a relative's roof fails or your adult child faces a sudden gap in tuition, you don't have to consult a spreadsheet or check the balance of a high-interest credit line. You simply write the check, and this is the key: your own lifestyle doesn't shift a single centimeter. This is the ultimate dividend of the invisible spread. Is the point where you stop being an earner and start becoming the insurer for the people you love. Quiet generosity is a structural advantage that most people never realize exists. A luxury car in the driveway is a loud signal of what you've spent, but a 5-figure gift to a struggling friend is a quiet signal of what you've kept. It reflects deep, pressurized reserves that allow you to act as a stabilizing force in an unstable world. If you're at the point where you can be the hero in a story no one else is telling, you're already retired rich regardless of the date on your calendar. If you've ever had to be that quiet hero, or if you're building toward being the person who catches others when they fall, leave a comment and tell me what financial peace actually looks like in your life. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. We're pulling back the curtain on the real mechanics of wealth that the flashy gurus ignore. You aren't just buying toys. You're buying the power to remove friction from the world. You've built an engine that runs so efficiently it has enough leftover energy to power someone else's house when their grid goes down. 5. Your assets are working quietly in the background. The fifth sign is that the engine is finally running on its own, and the noise is so low your own family can't hear it. Your children see the 4 walls of the family home, but they don't see the way the mortgage balance hit 0 while they were in college, or how 3 decades of appreciation have turned a modest purchase into a massive untaxed equity cushion. They see you check an app on your phone and think you're checking the weather, but you're actually watching the delta on a brokerage account that now moves more in a single afternoon than your first starting salary. This is the level where your assets have transitioned from being savings to becoming operatives. They work the night shift while you sleep. They don't need a management fee or a personal guarantee anymore because the momentum of compounding has taken over the wheel. It's the rental property that's been paid off for a decade, throwing off a clean $3,000 a month that you never spend, or the dividend portfolio that reinvests itself like a self-sustaining lung. Your kids don't see these things because they aren't meant to be seen. They are the structural steel behind the drywall. Most people buy things to look like they've arrived. You've spent 30 years buying things that ensure you never have to leave. If you've spent your life building an invisible engine instead of a loud one, subscribe and join the few who understand the difference. Tell me in the comments, what's the one asset you own that provides the most peace but has 0 status value? That's the real sign. You aren't chasing a number on a screen. You're maintaining the machinery of your own independence. 6. You have a plan for healthcare, taxes, and the unexpected. The 6th sign is that you've stopped looking at your net worth as a single scoreboard and started viewing it as a fortress with 3 specific, reinforced moats. Most people see a $1 million balance and think they're safe, but they haven't accounted for the 3 silent thieves that wait at the finish line: the IRS, the hospital, and the outlier event. Real retirement wealth is defined by protection, not just accumulation. It's the transition from being a growth seeker to becoming a risk mitigator. You've already mapped the tax track. You understand that a traditional 401k is essentially a joint venture with the government, where they own an undisclosed percentage of your life's work. To fix this, you've spent the last decade quietly shifting the weight. You did the Roth conversions when the market took a dip, paying the toll on your own terms rather than waiting for the government to name its price later through required minimum distributions. You've turned your tax liability from a looming shadow into a managed, predictable line item. Then there is the medical cliff. You know that a single bad diagnosis or a few years of long-term care can liquidate a lifetime of discipline in a matter of months. You didn't ignore that reality. You built a bridge over it. Whether it's a dedicated HSA that's been compounding untouched since your 40s or a specific insurance stack, you have a plan that ensures a health crisis doesn't become a generational financial crisis. This preparedness separates true comfort from mere fragility. You're playing a long-game version of multiple arbitrage where you bought your peace of mind early so you don't have to pay for it when it's most expensive. If you're building a fortress instead of just a pile of cash, subscribe to the channel. We talk about the structural side of wealth that most people miss. Planning ahead like this is the only way to prevent the late-life financial panic that ruins the quiet years. Tell me in the comments, have you already started moving your assets into tax-free buckets, or are you still in the accumulation phase? Your answer determines how much of your wealth actually stays yours. 7. Your estate is organized and your decisions feel unhurried. 7. The final sign is the one that sits in a fireproof safe or a digital vault, and it's the most silent of all because its only purpose is to speak for you when you no longer can. It is the transition from owning assets to managing an architecture. If your wills, trusts, and beneficiary designations are not just finished but optimized, you have reached the level where your wealth has its own structural gravity. You've moved past the chaos of accumulation and into the precision of legacy. Most people leave a mess for their heirs, a jigsaw puzzle of accounts and tax liabilities that takes years to solve. You've done the unglamorous work of labeling the keys, ensuring the mechanism of your life's work doesn't grind to a halt the moment you do. But the real indicator is the speed at which you move. When you're retiring rich, your decisions feel unhurried. You don't have to sell the house because the market is peaking. You sell it because you found a better view. You don't have to downsize to free up cash. You do it because you're finished with the maintenance. This is the reverse of the personal guarantee. Instead of a bank holding a lien on your life, you hold the lien on your own time. You can afford to wait for the right moment because the cushion is permanent. Wealth, in its truest form, is the absence of friction. It's the ability to look at your life's work and realize the structure is sound, the moats are deep, and the future is settled. If these signs describe your life, you've won the game that most people don't even know is being played. If this deep dive into the mechanics of wealth resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and join us. Drop a comment below and let me know, is your estate a done folder, or is there still one more move to make? I'll see you in the next one.